Sorry about the wait, I got dragged into a little bit of food prep as well. But hey, I'm back. He said his old foot injury was acting up. Old injury? He was all smiles yesterday. Yes, he smiled when he said he'd be fine as long as you're there, Trucy. Thanks, Doug, for the welcome back. Yes, fine. We'll be fine. Here comes justice! I started my voice training at 5 a.m. this morning. Ooh, do some now. I want to see. Here. What? Oh, okay. My name is Apollo Justice, and I'm fine. That sounds more like a self-mantra than voice training. I'm fine. I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine. I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? Good morning. Yo, sup? Hit me with a guilty verdict, G. See if I care. You just hang loose and let things go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? Not really. No. Wacky, don't be running your mouth like that in here. See, that's the difference between me and you, old man. I ain't afraid of no cops. Real G's keep it real till they spend some hard time in the pen. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Sounds like they've both been up to voice. Sounds like they've both been voice training too, Apollo. My worst fears realized. Trial starting, and I still haven't had a real talk with my client. Court is now in session for the trial of Waki Kutaki. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Oh my god, I forgot I see the word Apollo, the name Apollo, but I forgot this is what I look like for a moment. My hair's sharp. Ready to rock and roll, Air Judge. It's him, the guy from yesterday. He's a prosecutor? It's Mr. Gavin's brother. Long time no see, Prosecutor Gavin. Were you taking a leave of absence? You know that little band I started in my free time? Thing is, we got real popular. Hard to say 9 to your fans when 3 of your singles go platinum, yeah? I see. To be honest, I was a little concerned. I feared that you might still be distraught over that one trial. Not to worry, Herr Judge. I wouldn't miss this day in court for the world. It's worth even more than VIP passes to one of my concerts, yeah? How could I pass up a chance to see the true strength of the little boy who bested my brother? It was worth canceling a show or two. Understood. You may give your opening statements for the court. To this court. Before that, I was thinking, is there in this courtroom not a bit serious? It is a court of law. That's no way to get the crowd jumping, Herr Judge. They're not supposed to jump. This is a courtroom. Baby, today we play it my way. Oh, hell yeah. Sometimes you have to get on up in order to get down. To prosecuting. This is crazy. The victim, Pal Maractus, director of the Maractus Clinic. The scene, People Park. He was found pulling a noodle stand. What in the world was a doctor doing pulling a noodle stand? Yes, I believe you will only find that out by asking the defendant. Right here, right now. Because it's an undeniable truth that he shot the victim. What do you mean, undeniable? If you are going to glare at anyone there, Judge, glare at the punk in the defendant's chair. His crime was witnessed quite clearly, you see. Very well. Please admit this witness to the court. Nine. Not yet. First, there's a little matter to be cleaned up. Did you talk without the accompaniment? I swear I could see the guitar for a second. What is it, Prosecutor Gavin? The motive, Judge. Why did the little punk do it? Why did he kill the director of the Maractus Clinic? Objection! Not so fast! The defendant doesn't have to explain that. But what if the defendant specifically requests to do so, as he did this morning? I want to give a shout out to all my homies, I believe he said. What? What are these homies you speak of? What is right? I always say that on stage, you should hit the crowd with speed and ferocity. Sounds like he got you good, huh, Polly? Well, this is highly unusual, but the court will now hear from the defendant concerning his motive in the crime. So, you, son, are the defendant. Waki, are you? I ain't your son, old man! You step to a Kataki, you best be prepared to step strong. You step to a public official, you best be prepared to step into jail. You got to hand it to him. Waki sure has guts. It's not his guts I'm worried about. Well then, the court will now hear testimony on the defendant's motive. From the defendant himself. Witness testimony. I'll tell you one thing, that doctor was a quacker. Someone had to show him what's what. I was in his clinic about half a year ago. He messed up my ops something bad. And he just lets me go without a word. See you later, bye. So I gotta go in, get another doc to patch me up again. That was the day I done figured it out. No OG's gonna let that pass. That's why I went to his pad that night. Know what I'm saying? But that's not his pad. You were saying you were one of the victim's patients? A lot of stuff goes down when you're keeping it real on the street. True that. I tell you one thing, that doc was whack. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. I can't believe this is the first time hearing all of this. First of all, the word you're looking for is quack. And is that a little harsh? He's your family doctor. Who asked you, Pointy Locks? Just who do you think you are? Your lawyer? Look, I ain't trying to hear that. He was a quacker, plain and simple. Someone had to show him what's what. By someone, you mean... Was there anyone with a score to settle with this doctor? Besides you, I mean. You better ask somebody else. Holmes? What do I care? I made up my own mind and did what had to be done. Straight gangster style. But why were you so mad at this doctor? Yo, sit back and listen while I drop it, J-Man. So you were a patient at the Maractus Clinic half a year ago? For what reason? For what reason? I had what you might call a mark of honor. Can you explain precisely what was wrong? They had a little run-in with the Rivales family. I guess I should just say the Rivals family. That's when I pulled the Jack move. He got shot by a businessman. Ran into an ambush. G busted a cap right in me. According to my sources, you couldn't stand the stress of waiting, and ran in 15 minutes before the appointed time. By yourself. Hey, I was more than a match for those guys. So you were carried to the Maractus Clinic from there. Apparently, he was shot in the heart. Shot in the heart and he's still alive? But who's to blame? I can catch bullets between my teeth, but I never learned how to catch them with my heart. The bullet stopped just short of my thumper, you know what I'm saying? Would've been a golden if it weren't for that quack doc. I said quack even though he said whack, because I'm saying it right! Ah! I'm just as pissed as you are, Apollo. Can't even take out a stupid bullet. So, as you say, the surgery was a failure. That ain't all of it, Holmes. See you later. Bye. What do you mean he just let you out without a word? What do you think it means? It's whack, that's what. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds bad. It sounds as though Herr Doctor wished to hide his mistake. This is why he let the defendant go. He's a liar, straight up. He's a better G than me. Who did that? So, this bullet is still... You know it! I can still feel it. Right there, in my chest, pressing up against my heart. Your words are like a bullet shot straight into my heart. Or something to that effect. Incidentally, that's from one of our hit singles. Well, that sounds like a straightforward case of malpractice. Word, J-Man. Word, no accident, that's what shizzle. Man, putting him down was like doing the world a favor. Bucky! Consult a lawyer before saying things like that! Chin up, Apollo. Back straight! But why did this mistake only come to light that day? It was found during the family health checkup. The family checkup? That was the wackest thing of all. All us G's lining up, taking the eye exams and all that. Better to die young than fade away, bizoy? Relief to hear. What's a relief? Oh, did your father not tell you? That bullet you carry so close to your heart, if not attended to immediately, it could kill you. What? Yes, Herr Dr. Maractus had knowledge concerning this ticking time bomb in you. Knowledge that could have saved your life. No way! That's whacked! There is proof. Your checkup report. Let's read it! How ironic that you would kill the one man capable of helping you. Metallic object found near heart. Report file, June 14th. Metallic object found near heart. Urgent exam needed. Excellent. You're almost as careless as he was. Well, now that the place is hopping, let's get to this gig started. Started? We've had enough of a warm-up act, yeah? Time to hear from the witness. Waki sure is quiet all of a sudden. I'm a little uneasy myself. Is Gavin's strategy? This guy's reading! What a nerd! So, will you tell us your name and occupation? I'm starting to actually build up more of an accent for Clavier. My name is Wesley Stickler. By occupation, oh my god, hold on, don't let me go back, you're reading too fast. I'm reading, you're speaking from your just flow of consciousness, I'm trying to... Let's just, My name is Wesley Stickler. By occupation, I take it you refer to some labor that profits society at large and supports a livelihood, under which definition I must confess to being unemployed. However, we must acknowledge the meaning of identity, which is commonly attached to this notion of occupation. And once we have accepted this reality, we see that our confusion is not gestalt per se, but derives instead from the vagueness inherent from all representations of thought. There we go. By which he means to say that he is a student. A junior at Ivy University, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, in the Department of Science and Engineering. Filled with curiosity for all things, I spend my days in pursuit of truth, honing my... Herr Stickler, please direct said curiosity to the case at hand today. Very well, Mr. Stickler. Please testify to the court about what you saw on the night of the crime. You ask, quite simplistically, what I saw... You know that salesman in The Simpsons goes like, yes? I will admit, I didn't watch a lot of Simpsons, so let's just... Salesman, yes. Yes? That one? If that is not the right one, I will check it out another time. Or if okay, excellent, perfect. I'm glad I found it very quick. For this guy, ooh. Nah, I'm not gonna go with that. I'm just gonna be very. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna go back to this real quick. I'm just gonna go with trying to hit every single consonant. Received pronunciation. You ask quite simplistically what I saw. However, we must understand that Homo sapiens possess 2 eyes, each of these designed to receive and interpret data. Sending images in the form of signals to the... Okay. That night, I passed through the park on my way home from shopping, when I saw them. One man pulling a stand, another man facing him. I saw them quite clearly. The man facing the victim was the defendant. In his hand he held, yes, a pistol. It was pointed at the man pulling the stand. A shot! The bullet hit the man pulling the stand from the front, square in the forehead. Well, I mean, we have an autopsy report. We already know that's wrong. Was there anyone else in the park in that time? I can say with 100% accuracy that there was not. Pistol our witness refers to is this. The court accepts this into evidence. Very well, Mr. Justice, you may cross-examine the witness. Yes, Your Honor. Trucy? Why are you staring like that at the witness? That man... I can't help but feel like I've seen him somewhere before. I can't help but feel I've seen him somewhere before. There we go. Words are impossible. Before we do anything, I guess I should actually, hold on. I don't need to read any of this. But let's just take a look at this. Anything? Anywhere? Do I have any kind of information about? Oh, straight into the barrel. Don't do this, kids. Oh my god, you actually want me to look at the barrel? Don't point that thing at me! Don't worry, I can handle myself around guns. Magic guns, at least. The ones that pigeons come out of. Very reassuring. Anything else? Any fancy markings? Screws on either side. Slide. The safety. The trigger. Wait, that's the safety. That's the ejection for the magazine. And the hammer. Sights. And nothing. Alright, well, we're going straight to autopsy report. Hi!
Objection!
That's all of it. I think we have a chance. Is that you relaxing, I see, Air Justice? Objection! Once is quite enough, Mr. Justice. Paulo, pace yourself. This trial's not over yet. Right. Look at this. The autopsy report? Is there a problem with the autopsy report? Right, a problem. Problem. Yes! The problem is the location of the entry wound. Location? You testified that the killer shot the victim square in the forehead, did you not? I have already determined your angle of inquiry. Allow me to explain. It is quite simple, really. First, understand that when I say square, I speak not of geometrical absolute. What do I mean by this? For example, the deflection of meter is one... Oh my god. The wavelength of light limited by a krypton particle, as we all know. In addition, it is well-known fact that krypton particles are rare and invisible to the naked eye, which points to a basic fallacy in your line of reasoning, namely that what... Mr. Justice. Yes? Was your objection to these, krypton particle things? This is the big time, and you are obsessed with something so small. You disappoint me. No, I'm obsessed with something big. I mean, there's a bigger, less nitpicky problem here. Duto. Just look at the autopsy report. The location of the entry wound was the right temple. Temple? Mr. Stickler, you said quite clearly that the victim was shot square in the forehead. That's a contradiction. Isn't it? It is, right? Finally! Herr Justice, oh, Herr Justice. Yes? Your tactics are outdated. Trying to shake the witness by objecting to trifles? Surely you haven't forgotten the fatal wound your master suffered 7 years ago? Phoenix Wright, was it? Look, I know the wound is in the wrong place according to this testimony. Yerk! Hey, Herr Forehead. Forehead? Let us imagine you are walking through the park. You see two men facing each other, one with a pistol trained on the other. What would you do, Herr Forehead? Well, I guess I would try to stop them. I'd probably shout, "Stop!" Objecting to trifles, but trifle is delicious. And you, Fraulein? Me? Well, I'd probably scream, "Eek." And you, Herr Stickler? What did you shout, I wonder? If the victim turned his head at the last moment. Ah, yes, thank you for jogging my memory. It sounds like an addendum to the testimony is required. Witness testimony. As soon as the killer raised his pistol, I took action. "Cease this at once, you two!" I cried with composure. The victim turned in the direction of my voice, and a shot rang out. Whereupon our cowardly killer, the defendant, appeared to have become frightened. Tossing the pistol aside, he fled from the scene. I see. So you attempted to stop the crime. Indeed, with composure. Well, maybe the criminal wouldn't have fired if he hadn't shouted like that. That doesn't really matter now, unfortunately. Let us consider this new testimony, shall we? Observe the diagram, if you would. Observe the diagram, if you would. The witness, Mr. Stickler, was it? Stood here. He shouted, "Oh, stop, please," or something of this nature. And the victim responded by looking in the witness's direction. If the killer were to have fired at just that moment, as we can see, the bullet was struck his right temple as in the report. That does seem to be the case. Witness the power of a junior in Ivy University's Department of Science. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may cross-examine the witness. Oh, I just noticed that after the break, I didn't take note of when I started back up. I guess I will just have to go by feeling for the next break, because I'm sure I'm gonna need one. As soon as the killer raised his pistol, I took action. Cease the— oh, wait, no, wait. I've already heard all this. What am I doing? Press. So you saw a raised pistol. Weren't you frightened? It can be said we students of Ivy University know no fear. The moment I saw that pistol, my inner sense of justice compelled me to take action. That was certainly brave of you. You might have gotten shot. Huh? You certainly were lucky. If I were in the killer's shoes, I certainly wouldn't have left a witness behind. He actually looks like he had no idea he was in danger. Regardless, I attempted to halt the bloodshed. Halt the bloodshed. Cease this at once, you two. Are you sure both men were able to hear your voice? They were, of course. My high, exquisite voice echoed through the park. And the victim responded to that clarion call. Quite. Did you hear the gunshot at the same time as the victim turned? Indeed. I would say about the same time, to be precise. And the victim didn't ask you for help. It can be said that he didn't have time to ask. He didn't even have time to take a single step. I'm totally sure that the killer fired because Mr. Stickler startled him. Don't say that too loud, Trucy, please. Can you describe the killer's actions more clearly? He seemed quite surprised, especially considering that it was he who did the deed. As we can see, human psychology is a tangled web indeed. He simply couldn't believe what he had done. He shot, he panicked, He shot, he panicked. A common tale, but true. A common tale, but true. Unfortunately, before I could take further action, tossing the pistol aside. You didn't try to apprehend the criminal? It all happened so fast. I'm afraid I hadn't the time. Doesn't something about that strike you as odd, Apollo? What? The killer was in a hurry, right? He fired the pistol and tossed it right away. According to the testimony, that's what happened, yes. In that case, I'd expect to find something that we didn't find. Find something? Find what? I like that contradiction. Kinda sad to see it go. Not as sad as I feel. What do we do now? At least the testimony is getting a little clearer. She's right. Maybe I can find something to use in this new testimony. Tossing the pistol aside, he fled the scene. Oh yeah, if he tossed it aside, then clearly he's not wearing gloves, right? Objection! Wait a second. Another misleading request. Yet you're so beholden to your own mode of discourse that you can't see how it affects you. Come again? Wait a second, you say? A second? Are we intended to wait just that, a single second? 1/16th of a minute? And 1/60th of a minute? That's hardly enough time to draw a breath, let alone make a statement in court. Now, had you asked for a longer period of time, say 3 minutes 35 seconds... Mr. Justice. Yes, Your Honor? Am I to understand that you are objecting to the length of a second? Yes, no. Here, just look at the pistol. It doesn't have a single fingerprint on it. Ah, a common ploy made all the more common, I fear, by the prevalence of television. Criminals these days are loath to leave fingerprints. Wait, but you said the killer tossed the gun and ran. That's right. He didn't have time to wipe the gun for prints. Haha, the little girl sticking it to the university student. There's a song in there. There's a song in there. I'm not little! Then let's think like adults, shall we, Fraulein? Huh? What if the killer, the defendant, was wearing gloves? Gotta admit, I didn't think of that, Apollo. Well, Mr. Justice, could the killer have been wearing gloves? No way. Impossible. The record of the murder victim and the record of the murder weapon is very clear about one thing. The fingerprints were wiped, which means some trace of the prints remained, which contradicts your testimony. If everything happened as you said it did, you wouldn't have time to wipe the pistol. That may be, but it does not change what I saw. The killer, the defendant, he threw down the murderous weapon from his hand and fled. And this pistol was found at the scene of the crime, strongly suggesting that this was the weapon he disposed of. That sounds solid to me. Well, Herr Forehead, any of your precious objections? What gives, Apollo? Let's see that voice training go to work! You know, I've only recently realized something. No matter how much you train your voice, it doesn't matter if you have nothing to say. What do you mean, nothing to say? Isn't it obvious from what the witness just said? Huh? Isn't what obvious? When he restated what he saw just now, he said he saw Walkie drop a murderous weapon. That's not the same as being 100% sure of what Walkie threw away. You're right. He's just confused because a pistol was found at the scene. Poor Mr. Stickler. It must be hard to be so perfect yet so wrong. Well, it can be said that I'm quite offended. While it is indeed true that once in my youth I wrote a love letter in my own blood that was seized by the teacher and posted on the blackboard for all to see, and for this, the appellation poor might be well prefixed to my name. It's yet the issue at hand. What we can say for certain is that the witness saw the killer throw something. Does the defendant have anything to say about this? Well, if what he threw away wasn't a pistol, then it had to be something else. At least one person on the defense team seems to be thinking, oh my god. Words. Wipe that smile off your pretty face, Gavin. It's so pretty. It's so hot. Why is he so hot? Perhaps you can inform the court as to the nature of this something else? What did the killer throw away before fleeing the scene? The kniffy! Is that a sword? I saw one of those on a late night movie last night. Great, a sleep-deprived judge. This knife was found at the scene of the crime, with the defendant's prints on it. His prints? This single piece of evidence proves two important things. One, that what the defendant threw down wasn't a pistol. Two, that the defendant wasn't wearing gloves. Indeed. Oh, hair forehead. You're forgetting two other things you've just proven. Huh? One, that the man the witness saw was the defendant, Mr. Walkie-Talkie. Two, that the defendant was holding a knife with the intent of harming the victim. Indeed. Never underestimated Gavin and his lesson here. This court is of the opinion that our witness is fond of making assumptions. In that light, I believe it would behoove us to hear about what really occurred, one word at a time, with less assuming, please. Assumptions make an ass out of you, and especially you. It is always the same with you people. Mark left the house on foot, and 5 minutes later his brother left after him. How long would it take for Mark's brother to catch up to him? Assuming that Mark never had to stop for a traffic light. Assuming, yes, that is what I said, assuming. As if that were a probable situation at all. Yet here you are, assuming that my assumption is no better. What this court assumes is that the witness will testify as to what happened after the shot was fired. I could not prevent the killer from leaving the scene, nor could I simply leave the scene in good conscience. Ergo, I used my cell phone to call the police. Until the police arrived at the scene 10 minutes later, I saw no one else. Why didn't you chase the killer? He was, as you say, a killer. Of course, I could have run him down, yet what would he have done when cornered? Sadly, it takes more than aptitude for solving quadratic equations to know that. Did the testimony earlier not provide the defendant's presence at the scene? I'm just completely... I don't know what to do with Clavier. I don't want to throw in like that super fake German accent, but oh well. Do we not also know that there's no one else there? It seems clear that we have our killer. Does it not? Does it not, Mr. Justice? Does it not, Mr. Justice? I'd better find a way to take this testimony down quick. I think you're doing pretty Gucci with Claudia, not gonna lie. Okay, thank you. I do notice like small things when I'm doing it, which is a bad habit that I'm like directing myself in my head as I am saying things, and I'm noticing small like, oh hey, maybe that's not quite right, but you know, yeah. Just let it go. Just let it sing.
Hold it!
Alright. Which way did the killer run? By that time, it was clear the killer had noticed me. Naturally, he ran in the opposite direction. That would mean he ran in the opposite direction from the Kitaki mansion. Don't even think about pointing that he was going away from his home. All he had to do was loop back once he was out of sight. How do you know that's where I was going? Trucy glare. You were certainly composed for someone who had just witnessed a killing. If one is to devote one's life to the pursuit of science, one must never flinch at the sight of a little blood, nor be so moved by a chemical discovery that one drops one's flask upon the lab room floor. Okay. One drops one's flask upon the lab room floor. Ooh, cool answer. Very cool. There's nothing strange about how he acted. Trucy looks like she has something to say. Your cell phone? Wasn't your first thought to call an ambulance? It can be said that I have dabbled in medicine. The injury I witnessed, namely a single shot to the head, tends to result in death. Ergo, there was no need for me to call an ambulance. Oh, a perfect syllogism. A proof in 3 parts. Exquisite. Simply exquisite. He actually looks like he's going to cry. Until the police arrived at the scene 10 minutes later, I saw no one else. Can you tell us in detail about these 10 minutes? I stood in a state of heightened awareness. Anything could have happened at any moment. Anyone could appear from any direction. Is that all? No one came. Nothing at all. I saw it all, which is to say, I saw nothing. It was late at night. It's not odd to think there would be few people around in the park. So we just stood there, watching. Not much to go on here. Trucy, if you've got something to say, by all means, say it. I can't find a single problem with that testimony. Had enough at last, Ed? Maybe it's time to back off a bit. No! The defense still has some questions that demand answers, Your Honor. Your opinion, Prosecutor Gavin? Let him play attorney until he's satisfied, I say. I will amuse myself by composing my next smash hit in my head. Very well. You may continue with the cross-examination. I mean, it sounds kind of like Trucy does have something to say. PM. Distinctive bloomers, to say the least. Is there something that I want to present here, or do I want... You saw no one else. So, this definitely has to be it. Because there's something that did not get explained. I want to say it's this. When did the accident happen again? Yeah, I'll just press with this. No, damn. Because I think Wright got hit at 9 p.m., right? Objection overruled. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Justice. That didn't go so well. Let's try these bloomers, because they were in the trash bin. Objection! Alright, okay, let's stop flailing around then. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? I'm not sure I follow you. It clearly contradicts the, what I thought. You don't sound very sure, Mr. Justice. Damn. Alright. You saw no one else after the police arrived 10 minutes later. Your point, right temple, damage to brain resulting from bullet wound. Is there anything I can inspect on this, actually? Just has an oil drum of soup. Noodle! Mr. Eldoon spelled his name backwards on this side. Oh, I get it. So the name of the store is the same whether you read it forwards or backwards. And how about a store called Team Meat? Close, but that would be Mayet backwards. And what kind of store is that? Buy a store that sells meat. It's not meat unless it's Team Meat. Is there anything on the bottom? Is there anything on the back? Is there anything weird or missing? Sale. Ramen rice ball. I guess not. Hold on, let's... Badge! Why do I feel like this is his phone? What did you say about this? Typical blue badger hater behavior. Oh good, I just had to press something again. Bail me out! There's nothing fishy about that testimony at all. There are any number of ways to explain the lack of prints on the pistol, I assure you. Perhaps the killer really was wearing gloves which he wiped the previous user's prints off. Then, after the deed was done, this fell out his pocket as he was throwing the gun away. A mistake befitting of a small-time punk, in my opinion. No. No! No! Seems we've come to the end of the line here. No, that can't be all. How unfortunate. It seems you weren't cut out to stand on the same stage as me. Were you, Air Forehead? I believe this brings the cross-examination to a close. This court will now declare the verdict for the defendant, Waki Tikitaki. Oh, hold it. Eek! Big eek. Trucy? Nobody move! What's the meaning of this? Who are you? There'll be no verdict in this court. Not yet! Wait, are you one of the Kitakis? The Kitakis? You mean the notorious gangsters? If you don't want to see me give the pretty little girl a new smile, do as I say. Adjourn the court for 20 minutes. What? This court will not bow to pressure from the likes of you. Judge. I see little point in further aggravating this gentleman. Recess! 20 minutes! I promise you'll regret it. Wait! How did he disappear so fast? Come to the defendant, Lobby Apollo. I suppose I have no choice but to adjourn for a 20-minute recess. Bailiff, catch that mysterious man! To be continued. Save. Save complete. Trucy! Trucy! You moved quick, Apollo. Good show, good show. Trucy, you're okay. I thought... I thought... Don't cry, Apollo. Those good-for-nothing gangsters. There's some things you just don't do. I'm pressing charges. Wait, just calm down, Apollo. Or else... What the heck is that? Surprised? This is one of my best tricks. The amazing Mr. Hat. You look marvelous, darling. He's a big hit on stage at the Wonder Bar. Yes, I'm a big hit. Well, what do you think? Do you like it? Trucy! There's some things you don't do. I'm pressing charges! Apollo! Now's not the time to be threatening me. It's you who's being threatened here. Huh? Remember what you said to Waki's father yesterday? You promised you'd save his son. But that testimony was rock solid. What are you suggesting I do? Look, once the judge declares a verdict, it's all over. If I can use my talent to stop that from happening, I will. Trucy, no more staged abductions, please. I'm not talking about magic, Apollo. I know when the witness isn't confident, I can perceive what he's feeling. It might not mean anything, but it's all we've got. You can see what he's feeling? Think back, Apollo. Think back to the times where there was a contradiction in his testimony. All of the times. All the times there was a contradiction? I remember. Well, I think I remember them, sure. There were 2 times when he made statements he wasn't confident in. And each time there was a contradiction. Eyes darting back and forth. He said the man tossed aside a pistol, but it turned out he wasn't sure, and sure enough, there was a contradiction. Well, that's true, but how does this help us? Didn't you notice anything? Whenever he made a statement he wasn't confident in, he displayed a certain habit. It's either his eyes or his pinky is out. Oh, or it's him turning the page. Oh. How am I supposed to see that? Well, I could see it. How else do you think Daddy went 7 years without losing a game of poker? Holy shit! I always sat next to Daddy during his big matches. I could see what his opponents were feeling. You mean that's how Mr. Right won all of those games? It's not cheating, officially. I wasn't looking at their hands or anything. And I wasn't there all the time either. Daddy's quite good at poker after all, but not good enough to go undefeated that long. Great, so he cheated, but what does that do for us? I don't believe this. You have to listen to his testimony one more time. No, scratch that. You have to watch his testimony. Perceive the truth. Watch a testimony? Perceive the truth? The only thing I'm perceiving is that I'm going to lose. Not true. Daddy said so. He said you have the power, Apollo. Mr. Right said that? Watch the testimony. Perceive his true feelings. Is she serious? Time's up. Sorry, I can't think of any other way to help you out of this one, Apollo. What was that she said before the trial started? Well, methods aside, she did avoid one guilty verdict already today. Time to show this court what I'm made of. Get ready for justice! Yeah, justice! You know, I'm starting to think I can do this. I knew you could do it all along. Oh, one more thing. Try to cover for Mr. Hat as best you can. I just flew in from the coast, and boy are my arms tired. Right. June 16th, 11:40 a.m. Court is now back in session. Right, we're fine. I'd like to say to the young lady standing next to you, Mr. Justice. Oh, you mean me? Don't you have anything to report? Anything concerning the mysterious phantom in the silk top hat? Right, him. Don't worry about him. I settled that. You settled that? Yes, it was, an out-of-court settlement. Right. Perhaps Fraulein would have us believe it was nothing more than a passing dream. Fantastic illusion. Fantastic illusion. Okay, sorry, I had to get that out. Now you see it, now you don't. Am I right? I think he's onto me. I wish he would stop being so cool. Let us dispense with these niceties and get straight to the matter. What are your plans for our gifted witness? Right. The defense would like to request another cross-examination. Because I forgot to ask something. There was no issue with the witness's previous testimony. I will grant your request, however, but this court will not permit stalling for time. Understood, Your Honor. Don't forget Apollo. When he isn't sure about something, he has a habit of fiddling with his book. He's so cool and hot. Yeah, here we go. And then back to... I'm not sure I'm qualified to watch testimonies after all. Focus, Apollo. Find his weak spot. Focus. If only it were that easy. My ears hear what he says. My eyes see his expression. I have to do something more? What other senses do I have? Look harder. What's this? It's the inverted investigation theme. Inverted court theme. Oh man. Time is going at half speed. My bracelet feels different somehow. I think Daddy was right. You can see it, can't you, Apollo? You're almost there. Find the weak spot in his testimony. I know this sounds crazy, but my bracelet is trying to tell me something. Here! So, you called immediately after witnessing the murder. Police have undoubtedly a record of the call. Why not check with them? Wait, Apollo! This has to be it! Wait, you mean his habit? Don't forget Apollo. Yeah. Blah, 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 looking at the book. Which means this is the place to look for his habit. I don't know how I know. But I know. Know what? It's my bracelet. It's different somehow. I can feel it reacting to something about the witness. Your bracelet? I'm not sure I get this focus stuff you were talking about, Trucy, but I have a feeling that trusting my bracelet is the way to go. Okay. I just need to touch my bracelet with R button as it reacts to the testimony. Perceive! What's going on? I can see the witness's face, his expression so clearly. It's filling my mind. I can see nothing else, hear nothing else. Apollo? Trucy, what's happening to me? This is what I meant by focusing. Focusing. In this state, you can see everything, Apollo. Everything the witness does. That's great, but this is kind of freaking me out. Just look for Mr. Stickler's twitch, his habit. You remember it, right? Sure, when he says something he's not sure of, he fiddles with a page in his book. You got it. Right now, you're looking at the witness's face. And your eyes are sort of bugging out. I'll bet they are. First, move your focus of attention down to Mr. Stickler's hand. His hand? You know what to look for now, but you have to be looking at the right place. She's right, I can only see his face like this. Time to try changing my viewpoint. Time to look somewhere else. Perfect, now you're really ready. Ready for what? Ready to perceive the truth behind the twitch. Perceive. Try listening to the witness talk as you focus. Then watch for his habit. Right, you mean when he fiddles with the page. That's right. That's your signal to look closer, to perceive with R. Find his weak point, find his weak spot, and I guarantee we'll be able to give him the royal flush. Spoken like a true pokerhead's daughter. I'm a magician, thank you very much. I have to pay attention to his words, and his fingers. Don't worry if you miss it, you can always try again. Right. Look out, nervous twitch, here comes justice! Look at him, wiggle those fingers.
Gotcha!
Ugh. I saw it, just now, I could see it. Mr. Justice, do you have something to say? Oh, this banging of desks, it's quite bad for my circulation, you know. Mr. Stickler, allow me to ask you a simple question. Why did you fiddle with the page of your book just now? That would never fly in court, Apollo. This instantly gets an objection from Clavier in any, like, reasonable, in any reasonable scenario. The very moment you mentioned your cell phone, what are you talking about? I'm curious now about this cell phone of yours. Mind if I ask a few questions? What to ask? Can I see your phone? Mr. Stickler, please show me your cell phone. Why? Whatever for? Show me and you'll find out. Well, I can't. I don't have it, you see. You don't have it? Mr. Stickler, is this your cell phone? Yes! Where did you get that? That's the phone from yesterday. Look, a cell phone. Oh boy. How strange, Mr. Stickler. Can you explain why your cell phone is sitting here in my hand at this very moment? Wait a minute! What is the meaning of this? This cell phone was found yesterday in the Maractus Clinic garage. The Maractus... Why, that's where the victim lived! That's impossible! Mr. Stickler, you lied to the court, didn't you? Your cell phone is here. How could you have called the police? Weuk! Weuk. It's true. I didn't have my cell phone that night. Which is why it can be said that I called the police from a public payphone. Payphone? So you didn't call on your cell phone at all, after all. Just where was this payphone located, Mr. Stickler? Well, to indicate it was starting a high degree of accuracy, it was right around here. That's quite a ways from the park. But why did you lie? There can only be one reason. He didn't want the court to know he had lost his cell phone. Because it was found in the victim's garage. What are you saying? Mr. Stickler, you broke into the Maractus Clinic garage on the night of the murder. This cell phone tells all. But that's ridiculous. That makes it sound like I snuck into this fellow's garage to commit some crime. As though I were trying to kill him. Well, Dr. Maractus was killed that night. Yes, but no, this line of reasoning has to be against the rules. Yes, it's true, I lost my cell phone, but you can't prove that I lost it that night. Well, Mr. Justice, if that cell phone was dropped the night of the murder, it does raise considerable suspicions as to a connection with the crime. Now's your chance, Apollo. Connect Mr. Stickler to the crime. He's already connected enough. I just have to prove it. Well, do I have a piece of evidence that can do the job? Can I prove the cell phone was dropped on the night of the murder? Absolutely I can. Of course I have evidence. Oh, I like your swagger, Airforehead. Hit it. The court will see this evidence. Mr. Justice, hit it, as they say. The evidence that proves this cell phone was dropped on the night of the murder is... the mirror. That's the side view mirror? As it so happens, Dr. Maractus's car was in an accident. That took the place that night of the murder. An accident? An accident. It happened a little after 9 p.m., just outside People's Park, our murder scene. Dr. Maractus's car hit a pedestrian. What are you trying to say? From the absence of a mirror, it's clear that the car was parked after the accident, which means it was parked there after 9 p.m. on the night of the murder. If your cell phone had been dropped before the car was parked in that garage, then it would have been crushed. After all, it was laying on the ground right under the wheel. Ergo, Mr. Stickler, the only time you could have dropped this in the garage was after 9 p.m. on the night of the murder in the park. Weorg! And Mr. Stickler, you know what this means? You did break in the victim's garage that night. This is the most unexpected. Mr. Justice, are you naming the witness as a suspect in the murder of Pal Maractus? Oh my god, I just fucking put it together. Are you naming the witness as a suspect in the murder of malpractice? It's fucking malpractice. God damn it. No, stop. This is too much. This can't be happening. Prosecutor, say something. I suppose it is worth saying this. No connection has been found between Wesley Stickler and Pal Maractus. Pal Maractus. That is, other than this. I believe our next testimony will be most revelatory. Is the witness prepared? Yes, Your Honor. I know that face. That's the face of guilt. Fucking malpractice, dude. That's right. Yes, I went to the supermarket. I must have dropped my cell phone on my way back. And when I was walking through the park, I happened to witness the crime. I saw the killer, the victim, the stand. All as clear as day. It was him. I saw the defendant at the scene. Yes, but your cell phone was lying in a garage. Yes, well, as you can see, my model of cell phone has a defect. It is given to rolling. It is quite a pain when I drop it alongside the road, you know. Looks like a normal cell phone to me. In any case, Mr. Justice, the cross-examination, please. That's funny. My bracelet didn't react at all during that testimony. His nervous habit must not be acting up. I didn't sense anything either, actually. Looks like you're on your own this time around. Right, no problem. I hope. Here comes justice. So you went shopping, which means you were holding a grocery bag when you witnessed the murder taking place? Yes, of course. Incidentally, the prosecution has received no report of this domestic detail. Mr. Stickler, can you explain yourself? No, I mean, yes, I did go shopping, really. I walked around the supermarket trying out the free samples. It's a deeply spiritual time for me. I'm sure the store clerks would disagree. Do you think sampling free food counts as a religion? In any case, that night, I sampled to my heart's content and was on my way back home, yes. That's when you passed in front of the Maractus Clinic? Why, yes, that's correct. That was a pretty suspicious pause there. Mr. Stickler, do you think you could be a bit more specific? Please show us the exact route you took on the night of the murder. Of course. Oh. The supermarket is here, along the main road. My home, from there, takes me past the Maractus Clinic. This is probably where I dropped my cell phone. Yet, woe was I, as I walked on unaware of my loss. And walked right into that fateful park. Which entrance did you enter the park from? Well, to be exact, one might say that I went from the entrance closest to the Maractus Clinic. The same entrance our victim used. Did you notice anything when you entered? Wheel marks from a noodle stand, for instance? I have no recollection of such a thing, no. Yet, though I might have missed the tracks, I could not miss what happened next. I'm a keen observer of the obvious, you might say. All is clear as day on a night. This part of the testimony is the key, I know it. Should I press him about the killer, the victim, or the noodle stand? Let's talk about the noodle stand. Do you happen to remember the noodle stand? Quite well, yes. For a student of the sciences, keen observation and healthy curiosity are vital. I remember everything. I could even read the sign. I believe it said, noodle. Yes, that was it. For remembering something quite well, it sure took you a while to tell us. And thank you for telling that a noodle stand sells noodles. Very enlightening. Well, Mr. Justice, what about that sign? Could that be important? Oh, that's very important. So the sign on the noodle stand said noodle. It appears the defense has just obtained a vital piece of testimony. Is this noodle stand broth really that delicious? No, no, don't. Judge, don't. One bowl would kill you. I'm sure of it. I think that's worth adding to the testimony as well. Whatever sort of noodles that stand sells, it can't match up to IVU's cafeteria. Some apply to the school merely for a taste of our smart noodles. I wouldn't mind a taste of that myself. Well then, Mr. Stickler. Objection! And you're absolutely sure the sign read noodle? Why, just last week my professor offered me this praise. At least you have good eyesight, Stickler. I'll give you that. It read, without a doubt, noodle. I see. What? Why are you looking at me like that? Is that pity I see in your eyes? Let's take a look at our map, shall we? So you're claiming that when you saw the sign, you were standing here, was it? Although, it would have been a bit hard to read the sign from this plot. You think so? Mr. Stickler, I'd like you to take another look at the stand and carefully read what the sign says. See? See? That sign actually states the name of the stand's owner. Eldunes. Inconceivable! I'm certain it was definitely noodle for sure, positive! I'm afraid your professor was wrong about that eyesight. I wouldn't be so quick to jump to that conclusion. The sign he saw changes everything. The witness says the sign said noodle. And he saw it right. What would you say if I told you that there is one spot which a sign could be read that way, read the way Mr. Stickler claims? What? Mr. Justice, show us this spot. The witness actually viewed the stand from this location. I guess I'll just put it on this side and hope that's good enough for them. The witness was standing here, on the opposite side. How do you know that? How do you know that? When viewed from the south, the sign on the stand reads Eldunes, as we know. However, observe the other side of the stand. Oh, this side says noodle. Exactly. The name of the stand is split between the front and the back signs. Mr. Stickler, you lied to the court. You witnessed the crime from the northern side of the park, not the south. You got me! So what? So what? What does that matter if you saw the killing from the north or the south side? It makes no difference at all. He's right. Travel far enough to the south and you will end up going north. Viewed on a global scale, directions are utterly without meaning. Actually, maybe he's right. What does it change? It changes everything, Apollo. Trucy? Remember his testimony from before. He shouted. Though, to be honest, I'm a little scared of where this is leading. Yo, we got the 3D going! The killer and the victim are facing each other here. Then, at the moment the killer raises his weapon, Mr. Stickler shouts. At which point, the victim turns his head to look, and the killer fires his pistol. X. That's why the bullet hit him in the right temple. No contradictions, right? Right. But if Mr. Stickler was standing on the north side of the park, that reverses the whole scenario. Completely. If Mr. Stickler shouts from where he is now, and the victim looks in his direction, the bullet would have had to hit his left temple. Oh! In other words, someone is standing at point K. In other words, someone standing at point K couldn't shoot the victim in his right temple. It's impossible. That's right. So, now that we know Mr. Stickler was standing on the northern side, the wound location takes on an entirely different meaning. Indeed, you are absolutely correct, Fraulein. What meaning? The entry wound was on the right side of the victim's head, right? Correct? Well, the right side of the victim's head is north. But that's where the witness, Wesley Stickler, was standing. Correct. So if he was standing to the north, then the only person here who could have shot the victim in the right temple was Mr. Stickler himself. Yarg! Yaorg. Order! 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 Oh, the apple didn't fall from the tree. Fall far from the tree. She flipped this whole case on its head while I was still figuring it out. Objection! Yo. Clarify 1 point from me if you would, forehead. What now? Are you truly accusing this college student of murder? Well, I can't say he exactly looks innocent, but something still doesn't feel right. I just can't picture him as the real killer. No, please, look aside, I'm a really nice guy. All my friends say so. Let's hear what the defense has to say. What are you gonna do now, Justice? Should I really accuse Mr. Stickler? I'm not gonna accuse you of a different crime. I don't think Wesley Stickler is the killer. But he's not innocent either. His unusual silence tells me that much. Mr. Stickler, you seem unusually quiet. Tell us why, now. The word confession isn't in my dictionary. Forehead, I'm afraid it falls to you to elucidate Herr Stickler's silence. Mr. Justice, you did say you were accusing the witness just now. For a crime other than murder. Your reason? Court's all ears. I know he's guilty of something. What crime other than murder is there? What crime other than murder is there? Do I have evidence that shows his involvement in some other crime? Your evidence? The court's all eyes, Mr. Justice. Show us evidence that points to the witness's involvement in a crime. Well, we finally have bloomers. Something tells me this isn't one of those good silences. Something else to say, Mr. Justice? One more chance, please? Oh, come on! But, by all means, but your effort wasn't wasted. Look, a brand new penalty. Damn. I mean, okay, let's present the cell phone because that's a lot more obvious. What? No! Please. Look, a brand new penalty. My badge! This is panties. Practice's autopsy report. I guess then it's Trucy's panties. It is. The evidence is this! What? Is that woman's underwear? Hey, those are mine! Yes? Do you want to say something? Don't look at me like that! Order, order, order! Mr. Stickler. Well, I can't say this comes at a shock. It's not what it seems! Pythagorilla's there! Pythagorilla. On the night of the murder, just past 9 p.m., a young girl catches a panty snatcher red-handed. Bravely, she gives chase, but the snatcher flees. Hides himself in no other place than Maractus Clinic garage. Incidentally, these panties were found in the exhaust pipe of the car there. Presumably, he was trying to hide the evidence of his crime. Ergo, while you may not be a murderer, you are guilty of panty snatching the first degree. Please, hear me out. It's not what it looks like. Mr. Stickler, you should be ashamed. It's not. It looks. Seems. Oh God, he's still going. So, are we to understand that you were silent not because you were guilty of murder, but because you lacked the courage to admit your theft of this girl's undergarments? Perhaps you are not aware that my school's name was originally written IV. I stands for intelligent, V stands for valiant, see? Your point? I'm not done. Now, I'm a major in the science department. What does science teach if not curiosity? Yes, we of IVU Science Department are valiantly curious. No challenge is too daunting, and what greater challenge to scientists than a mystery? Come on, you're talking about a girl's panties here. No, you do not understand. Mystery is the unknown, and the unknown is unacceptable. My friends, when it comes to mysteries, those panties are the promised land. From the moment I first laid eyes on them, I was compelled to investigate. For science. A full-sized car tire was only the first mystery those panties revealed. A tire? Yes, I saw her do it. She pulled a tire out from those panties. That's not all. First, there was the tire, then a stew pot, then a frozen chicken. One mystery after another. It was magic. Oh, I remember now. He's one of the regulars in the audience at the Wonder Bar. Huh? He's talking about my magic panties trick. I just don't understand. A broom from a pair of panties? It mocks the very laws of physics. A broom? And a frozen chicken, Trucy? Whatever happened to doves and bunny rabbits? Mr. Stickler, you stole this girl's panties to understand a magic trick? You say panties. They're so much more than that. For me, they are an object of serious study. I wonder. There's been a recent rash of panty snatchings in the area. Are they all you? I'm sorry, but I did it for science. Each time I spied a pair of... Well, maybe this would be a pair that elucidate the mystery. Even that night as she chased me through the streets, I wept tears of joy. Perhaps this is the night that I would see the truth that lies within those panties. Yeah, what was I? For once again, this lacy heart pattern truth slipped from my fingers as... Still, that leaves one thing unexplained. You refer to our witness's other lie, yes? The witness claimed he saw the crime from the south, but it was in fact in the north. Indeed. Would anyone care to explain why he lied about that? Be my guest, Herr Forehead. Me? Did I not hear you correctly? Did you not say you do not accuse the witness of a murder? Why then did the witness lie about his location at the time of the shooting? Or have you no idea? Apollo, there's something about the way his diagram is arranged right now. When you think about it, right near where Mr. Stickler was standing, isn't there a container that you have a hobby of searching? Well, Mr. Justice, what say you? Do you have any evidence to show why the witness lied about his location? More panties. The evidence that shows why he lied is this. What? More panties? How many panties are you carrying in your pocket, Herr Forehead? These are the last, honest. These were found in a trash can at the park. Looking at the diagram, we can see that the trash can was right next to where the witness stood. Mr. Stickler. Didn't. Alas, I'm a failure as a scientist. I can't unravel the mysteries of the universe. I can't even unravel a pair of panties. So, these panties are your handiwork as well? That night I had been chased, pounded into the Maractus Clinic garage. Weeping in frustration, I was forced to abandon my prize. Don't you see how I felt? Believe me, I'd rather not. I hid in the garage for a short while. Then, abandoning the panties, I made for home. To avoid the office where the girl works, I went toward the south entrance. Where I saw them hanging there on a clothesline by a giant mansion. A giant pair of panties. Apparently he didn't know those bloomers belonged to the mob. I had them, safe in my pocket, ready to take home, when I stumbled upon the murder. The murder of Dr. Maractus. I just want to... Okay. I'm getting increasingly unsure of how to pronounce his name, but I'm getting it right still. I reported what I've seen, but as I waited for the police to arrive, I got scared. What if they searched me? That's when you disposed of the bloomers? Yes. It was a severe blow to the progress of science, but one that had to be borne. A fascinating if disturbing tale. Fascinating, if disturbing tale. I believe this brings today's proceedings to a close. I'm more than pleased to dismiss the witness for the remainder of the trial. One last thing, if I might. Have you got the victim's first name? Yeah, his name is Pal, and I made the realization if you flip the first characters of his first and last name, it's Malpractice. Regardless of where we ended today, some vital points were made. Namely, the defendant, Wakikitaki, was at the scene of the crime. And he was pointing a weapon at the victim. One more thing. Wakikitaki has made a clear motive. Indeed, the defendant Wakikitaki is still the prime suspect in this case. The only suspect, in fact. Assuming there was no one else on the scene at the time. Yet, a mystery remains. The location of the wound in the victim's right temple has yet to be explained. The court requests further investigation from both the defense and the prosecution. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. No problem. Very well. This brings the trial for the day to the close. Court is adjourned. To be continued. All right. I think I'm going to cut things here. I want to eat soon, and this is an excellent time to chop up the case into 2 parts. Bedtime for you, Breeze? Good night. Sleep well.